Good morning everyone. This is Raghu, Assistant Professor of Biotechnology from SR and BGNR Government College, Khammam. So today's topic is amino acid structure, biological importance of amino acids, and chemical reactions involved with amino acids. So we have seen the process of protein synthesis. So the proteins are made up of 20 standard amino acids in general. A part of that, 2 or 3 modified amino acids are also there, like cysteine and ferrolysine. A part of that, there are 20 standard amino acids that makes most of the proteins, 99.99% of the proteins. Today we will see the structure of these 20 standard amino acids and also their biological importance and some important reactions associated with these amino acids. So if you see the structure of an amino acid in this figure, it is the general structure of an amino acid with central carbon atom attached with 2 functional groups. One is carboxyl group, other one is amino group, and a hydrogen. Opposite to hydrogen, an R group. R may vary. So this is the general structure of an amino acid. So it will have an amino group and a carboxyl group, hence it is called as amino acid. So if you see the definition, amino acids are called as building blocks of proteins. So they make proteins, hence they are called as building blocks of proteins. So if you see the central carbon atom, here it is called as asymmetric carbon atom if R group is different from rest of the groups. That means if R group is different from rest of carboxylic, amino and hydrogen atom, then carbon atom C is called as asymmetric carbon atom. So asymmetric carbon atom means a carbon will attach to 4 different groups, then it is called as asymmetric carbon atom. So generally the valency of carbon atom is 4. So if the carbon atom is attached to 4 different groups, then it is called as asymmetric carbon atom. And the carbon atom that is attached to functional group, here the first priority functional group is carboxyl group, and the carbon atom attached to carboxyl group, it is called as alpha carbon atom. So all the 20 standard amino acids are alpha carbon atom containing amino acids. So only alpha amino acids make the 20 standard alpha amino acids, which are of 20, make the proteins. So we will see the structure of these 20 standard amino acids now. So you can see the amino acids which are non-polar, means that does not contain any polarity in water, hence they are called as non-polar. And aliphatic R groups. So R which we mentioned here is aliphatic chains here. So that means CH2 like that, it contains aliphatic chains. So non-polar aliphatic amino acids. The first one is called glycine, which is the simplest amino acid. So you can clearly see the hydrogen atom in blue color there on the top instead of R group. So here the carbon atom is not asymmetric because the carbon atom contains 2 hydrogens here. Along with that, a carboxylic acid group and an amino group is present. That is structure of glycine. So glycine is the only amino acid that is having no asymmetric carbon atom and it is the only amino acid that is optically inactive. Glycine also plays an important role in the process of neuromodulation, neurotransmission modulation. So that we will see in the upcoming slides. Glycine, when combines with succinyl CoA, it will give delta amino levulinic acid, which is a precursor for the synthesis of heme. So that is some functions of glycine and its biological importance. So glycine is the only amino acid which have no asymmetric carbon atom. Glycine is optically inactive. Glycine plays an important role in the process of synthesis of heme. Glycine also plays an important role in the process of neurotransmission modulation. So these are some biological importance of glycine. If the R group in the general structure of an amino acid is replaced by a methyl group, then it is called as alanine. You can see the structure of alanine. 3-letter abbreviation is ALA. For glycine, the 3-letter abbreviation is GLY. So alanine contains a single methyl group at R position. Alanine is called as kingmaker of amino acids because most of the branched chain amino acids are synthesized from alanine. So that is about alanine. If R group contains CH methyl groups, 2 methyl groups, then it is called as valine. So you can see the structure of valine there. And if it is containing CH2, CH, CH3, CH3, then it is called as leucine. If it contains CH3, CH2, CH3, it is called as isoleucine. So valine, leucine and isoleucine are called as branched chain amino acids. They are called as branched chain amino acids. These branched chain amino acids, they are present in protein interior and plays an important role in hydrophobic interactions. So branched chain amino acids play an important role in hydrophobic interactions. So valine, isoleucine and leucine. So these will come under branched chain amino acids. Apart of that, a thiol group containing amino acid is there, that is methionine. You can see CH2, CH2, S, CH3. If CH is present, it is called as sulfhydryl group. If only S is present, it is called as thiol group. So thiol group containing amino acid is methionine. So generally it is a sulfur containing amino acid. But since it is non-polar, it is placed under this non-polar aliphatic R group containing amino acids. So methionine in the form of S-adenosyl methionine plays an important role in methyl group transfer. In biological reactions. Methionine also the starting amino acid during the process of protein synthesis in eukaryotes. Methionine in the form of formyl methionine, it is the starting material for the protein synthesis in prokaryotes. So that is about methionine. So methionine is sulfur containing amino acid. It contains a thiol group. It plays an important role as a methyl donor in biological reactions in the form of S-adenosyl methionine, and it is the initiator amino acid combines with tRNA and plays an important role in the process of initiation of protein synthesis in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So that is about methionine, branched chain amino acids, alanine and glycine. So next one is polar uncharged R group containing amino acids. Polar uncharged R group containing amino acids. Polar means they are soluble in water, but they don't show any charge because they contain equal amount of positive and negative charges on the structure. So they don't show any charge. So polar uncharged R group containing amino acids. Serine, CH2OH, you can see in blue color. if it contains COHH it is called as threonine. So these two amino acids, serine and threonine, are also called as hydroxy group containing amino acid. Hydroxy group containing amino acid, because structurally they contain OH group, hence they are called as hydroxy group containing amino acids. Serine and threonine play an important role in translational modification of proteins. Post-translational modification of proteins. So that means after protein is synthesized, the proteins are modified, especially at the sites where serine and threonine are present. So those modifications involves phosphorylation, glycosylation, etc. So glycosylation, if you take O-linked glycosylation and unlinked glycosylation. So this O-linked and unlinked glycosylation occurs especially at serine and threonine residues of the protein. So it is a post-translational protein modification. So and also some phosphoproteins, they contain phosphate groups, and those phosphorylation of proteins especially takes place at serine and threonine residues. So that is the function of serine and threonine when they are present in the protein. So another sulfur containing amino acid is cysteine. So one we have seen in the previous slide, methionine, which contains thiol group, and another sulfur containing amino acid is cysteine, which contains sulfhydryl group. You can clearly see CH2SH. Cysteine, when it is present in the proteins, it plays an important role in the formation of disulfide bonds. So it plays an important role in protein stabilization by formation of disulfide bonds. So that is the function of cysteine. So the next one is proline. So if you see the structure of proline, there is a ring structure that is called as pyrrolidone ring. The ring is called as pyrrolidone ring. And proline does not satisfy the general structure of amino acid. Proline does not satisfy the general structure of amino acid. You can clearly see it does not have a free amino group, and a central carbon atom is absent. So where you can see a ring structure called pyrrolidone ring. So hence it is called an amino acid. It is an amino acid. So proline plays an important role in proteins, especially it is present in beta pleated sheets and also collagen triple helix. So that is the function of proline, and we will see the role of proline when we see the structure of proteins. So it is present in collagen as well as beta pleated sheets. That is proline. So next one is asparagine and glutamine. So you can clearly see CH2 C double bond by NH2, CH2 CH2 C double bond by NH2. So asparagine and glutamine. These two amino acids are derivatives of aspartic acid and glutamic acid. They play an important role in the process of transamination reactions. So transamination reactions are the reactions where amino group of an amino acid and a keto group of a keto acid are transferred onto each other to form a new amino acid and a new keto acid. That we will see during the reactions of amino acids. So asparagine and glutamine, they play an important role in the process of transamination reactions. So next one is negatively charged R groups containing amino acids, also called as acidic amino acids. Aspartic acid and glutamic acid, also called as aspartate or glutamate. So aspartic acid CH2COO minus, glutamic acid CH2CH2COO minus. So several biological functions are seen by these two amino acids, aspartic acid and glutamate, during transamination reactions, during transport of hydrogen and electrons in electron transport shuttle systems, and also ammonia transport in urea cycle. So all these functions will be committed by aspartate and glutamate. So they play an important role especially in amino group transport or amino group transfers in urea cycle or Krebs-Hanselit cycle. So that is aspartic acid and glutamic acid, which are acidic amino acid. So why they are called as acidic amino acid? A part of amino and carboxyl group, they contain an extra carboxyl group. So hence they are called as acidic amino acids. So next one is non-polar aromatic amino acid. They contain an aromatic ring, benzene ring. So those are called as aromatic amino acids. Phenylalanine, CH2 one benzene ring. So that is called as phenylalanine. If a hydroxy group is placed on phenylalanine, then it will become tyrosine. So that is phenylalanine and tyrosine. So tryptophan, it contains indole ring. Indole ring. In clearly see the indole ring in the structure. So those ring is called as indole ring of tryptophan. So to the methyl group, an indole ring is attached. So that is tryptophan. So if you see some of the functions of amino acids, so oxidative decarboxylation of glutamic acid. Glutamine is converted into glutamate with the help of glutamate synthase, and glutamate is converted into gamma aminobutyric acid, inhibitory neurotransmitter. Gamma aminobutyric acid in the form of glutamate will be converted into GABA with the help of glutamate decarboxylase. So this is a decarboxylation reaction. So where gamma aminobutyric acid acts as inhibitory neurotransmitter. So this is one of the biological function of glutamine and glutamate. So if you see phenylalanine, from phenylalanine you got tyrosine with the help of phenylalanine hydroxylase. From tyrosine, dopa, dihydroxy phenylalanine. So from dopa you will get dopamine. From dopamine to norepinephrine. From norepinephrine to epinephrine. So these epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopa, dopamine, all these are called as catecholamines. Catecholamines. So epinephrine and norepinephrine are called as flight and fight hormones. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. So all these are synthesized from the two amino acids phenylalanine and tyrosine. So phenylalanine is considered to be the most essential amino acid from which the remaining catecholamines are synthesized. While coming to tryptophan, from tryptophan, with the help of tryptophan hydroxylase, 5-hydroxytryptamine is obtained. From that you will get serotonin, 5-hydroxytryptamine. So 5-hydroxytryptamine phosphate, from that 5-hydroxytryptamine you will get. It is called as serotonin. From serotonin, melatonin is synthesized. From serotonin, melatonin is synthesized. Serotonin will play an important role in neurotransmission modulation, whereas melatonin play an important role in circadian biological rhythms in humans, day and night identification, and also menstrual cycle, and all these are maintained by melatonin. And tyrosine also forms T3 and T4, triiodothyronine and thyroxine T4. They play an important role in the process of iodine metabolism in the body. These are only amino acid derivatives which play an important role in iodine metabolism. So these T3 and T4 are obtained from tyrosine. So these are the different neurotransmitters obtained from amino acids. So gamma aminobutyric acid obtained from glutamate, glutamine to glutamate, glutamate to gamma aminobutyric acid. So it is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. Glycine is again an inhibitory neurotransmitter. Glutamate, it's an excitatory. Aspartate, it is an excitatory. Dopamine, it is inhibitory. Noradrenaline, it is excitatory. Serotonin, it is inhibitory. And histamine, it is excitatory. So that is the functions of amino acids in the process of neurotransmission. So the last amino acids are positively charged R groups, also called as basic amino acids. Arginine and lysine. You can see lysine structure, 4 CH2 groups, 1 amino group. You can see arginine, 3 CH2 groups and 1 guanidino group. NHC11NH2 NH2 is called as guanidino group, that is present in only arginine. And histidine, imidazole ring, indole ring is present in tryptophan, imidazole ring is present in histidine. So that ring that is shown here is imidazole ring. So these three are called as basic amino acids which have positively charged R groups. Arginine and lysine, basic amino acids, they are abundantly present in histone proteins, which will give positive charge to the histone proteins. Whereas histidine is a semi-essential amino acid. It is required up to certain age. From then, adults can synthesize this histidine. So that we will see about essential and non-essential amino acids. So these are the essential and non-essential amino acids. So the essential amino acids, they have to be supplied through diet continuously. Histidine, up to a certain age, it has to be supplied. After that, it is synthesized from in the body. So histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, valine. So these are called as essential amino acids which has to be supplied to the diet. And non-essential amino acid, alanine, arginine, asparagine, aspartic acid, cysteine, glutamic acid, glutamine, glycine and proline are called as non-essential amino acids. They can be synthesized from the essential amino acids by various steps. So those are called as non-essential amino acids. So all the amino acids which we have mentioned are L and alpha amino acids. The proteins are made up of only L and alpha amino acids, not other than that forms. So if you see the stereoisomerism, L or D of an amino acid is based on the presence of amino and hydrogen atom, these two groups in the central carbon atom. So you can see the L amino acid, the amino group is present towards the left side and H is present towards the right side. And a D amino acid, amino group is present towards right side and a hydrogen is present towards the left side. So based on the presence of amino group and hydrogen atoms, the amino acids are classified into two types, L amino acids and D amino acids. Only L and alpha amino acids are biologically active and the proteins contain only these L and alpha amino acids. So this L amino acid, which is alpha carbon atom containing amino acid, and which we have seen in the previous slides, the 20 standard amino acids, all are L and alpha amino acids that are used in the process of protein synthesis. So next property is Zwetter ions. So amino acids, they contain carboxylic group and amino group. So generally if you write, it will be written as NH2 and COOH, general representation. But these amino acids, when are dissolved in water, charges are developed on carboxylic group and amino group due to proton donation, internal proton donation from carboxylic group to amino group. So the amino group will be converted into NH3 plus and carboxylic group COO minus. So the amino acid on its structure contains both positive charged and negative charged groups. So hence they contains both the charges, it is called as Zwetter ion. So you can see the definition, because amino acids contain both energetic and basic functional group. An internal acid-base reaction occurs forming an ion with a positive and a negative charge called Zwetter ion. You can see the structure clearly having the positive and negative charge. So that is Zwetter ions. So another point was mentioned, in solution the structure of an amino acid can be changed with the pH of the solution. So the pH also plays an important role in the change of the structure of the amino acid. You can see clearly here, for example, in water, the amino acid will be existing in Zwetter ion form. If you lower the pH, that means you take the pH to acidic side, then an H plus ion is accepted by the Zwitter ion. Then the Zwitter ion is converted into cation, which has a positive charge. You can clearly see the structure on the top, left top, Zwitter ion plus H3O plus, that means H plus ion in acidic condition converts the Zwitter ion to cation. So the H plus ion will go and bind to carboxyl group, converting it into COOH. Then only amino group charge is present, then it is called as cation. If we increase this pH of the solution, that means towards the basic side, OH minus ions concentration will increase. These OH minus ions will accept a proton from amino group, converting it into NH2 group, such that the Zwitter ion is be converted to anion with carboxyl group negative charge. So that is the conversion of Zwitter ion into cation and anion based on the pH of the solution. Next one is isoelectric point. The pH at which the amino acid will exist as Zwitter ion is called as isoelectric point. We have seen the structure of 20 standard amino acid. They have different types of groups on their structure. Acidic amino acid, basic amino acids, some have more than one positive charge, some have more than one negative charge in their structure. But if all the charges are equal at a pH of solution, that means the amino acid will be existing in Zwitter ion form. So the pH at which the amino acid exists at Zwitter ion form is called as isoelectric point. At above isoelectric point, amino acids forms anions. Below isoelectric point, protonation occurs and act as cations, which we have seen in the previous slide. So this is the condition: decrease in pH and increase in pH. So these are the sum of the isoelectric points of each and amino acid. You can see glycine 5.97. You can see aspartic acid 2.77, glutamic acid 3.22, lysine 9.74, arginine 10.76. So among these, the amino acid which is having highest isoelectric point is arginine 10.76. And of lowest is 2.77, which is shown by aspartic acid. After that, glutamic acid. So lowest isoelectric point in containing amino acids are acidic amino acid. Highest isoelectric point containing amino acids are basic amino acids. Among that, arginine will be highest. Among acidic, aspartic will be the lowest. So if the pH of the solution is same as isoelectric point, the amino acid will be existing as Zwitter ion. So that is isoelectric point. And isoelectric points of various amino acids, that is 20 standard amino acids shown here. So next one is peptide bond formation. So two amino acids are there. If you remove a water molecule, then a peptide bond is formed. A bond is formed between carboxylic and amino group by removal of a water molecule. You can clearly see on the left top we have removed a water molecule. Carboxylic group donated OH group and amino group NH2 donated hydrogen. A water molecule is removed and a peptide bond is formed. This type of bond you can clearly see during translation process, which is mediated by peptidyl transferase, an enzyme which is present in the P site of the ribosome. So that is peptide bond formation. So another reaction is ninhydrin reaction. Amino acids react with ninhydrin. Two molecules of ninhydrin. You can clearly see ninhydrin react with one amino acid where an aldehyde group is removed plus CO2 is removed plus a water molecule is removed and amino group is attached to ninhydrin, and another ninhydrin will come and two water molecules are removed and a complex is formed. This is called as Rohimase purple color complex, which is purple in color. So ninhydrin is especially used for the identification of amino acids by paper chromatography, and it is also a confirmation test for identification of amino acids during biochemical experiments. So ninhydrin, two molecules of ninhydrin will interact with amino acid to form Rohimase purple color complex. This is ninhydrin reaction, which is used for the identification of amino acids. So that is about structure of amino acids, biological importance, and some important reactions associated with the amino acids. So thank you very much for patiently listening to the